What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Redemption with Jaden. We are doing some drafting, not actually in this episode, but we are going to be talking about drafts of various kinds, primarily the fantasy draft, which is going to be going on at Nationals in just a week here. Well, less than a week is actually when the draft is going to be happening. So I've got
second annual, so that makes it tradition.
That's true. It's got to happen
It's gotta
every
be a
year now.
tradition now.
So I'm here with Mr. John Hendrix, host of the Threshing Floor podcast and the progenitor of the fantasy draft. The Nationals fantasy draft is the product of his brain, loins. Where does that kind of thing come from?
Brain, loins. You gotta give it up, man.
All right.
You're out of your element. You're on the road.
It's from John, and certainly was something that I've put some help in with as well, and have had a lot of fun contributing to and hosting it on my channel last year, and that will be how it's done again this year. And as is also tradition, we're going to be picking the draft order today and also identifying who our fourth drafter is, because that has not actually been released yet into the public. The three were released on the Threshing Floor live episode, which if you guys haven't checked that out yet, then what are you even doing here? But the three have been determined. We've got a fourth drafter, but first, John, do you want to just give a quick rundown of what the fantasy draft is for the folks that are new here, or maybe didn't see last year, or they live under a rock or something like that?
Sure. Whether you live under a rock or not, you can be involved with the fantasy draft. So, like you mentioned, there's going to be 4 people drafting. Last year we had 4. It ended up being myself, Tyler Stevens, Joe Schaefer, and our co-host of the podcast, Jake. And poor Jake, we didn't have a lot of information going into this. It was a cool idea that we had, and I think we just kind of pulled strings and made it happen at the end. Like the actual draft and production of the draft and live streaming, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would, with the amount of planning or lack thereof that I'll say that I put into it. I think it was kind of just one of those things that we assumed it was going to work out, and we made it work out. So that was great. But so there's 4 people drafting, and we're going to have a pool of draftable players. So when you pre-register for Nationals, if you've already done that, you saw this question. If you haven't registered yet, then you will see this question. And it just says whether you are willing to be entered into the pool of draftable players. And it's a simple yes or no. Now, if you select no, that's your right or whatever, and you will not be involved. We will not draft you. We will not share your name, your image, or your likeness to make it sound like college sports. We won't use your NIL. But if you did select to be draftable, then the 4 players will be drafting from that pool of players. And for each category that those players play at Nationals, they're going to get their victory points. And the victory points across however many rounds their category is. So that factors into who is the more valuable draft player. Not booster draft, but actual fantasy draft. You mentioned there's going to be all kinds of draft talk here, but based on how they do so, something like Type 2, where you have potentially less rounds than with Type 1, you're going to have a slight drop in the amount of points between those categories, and then you have to compare Type 1's own day, but then you have booster draft with Type 2, and booster draft is going to have probably a bigger field, so more rounds, so you probably have a chance to get more victory points through that. So having the data now that we were able to, thanks to Jamie and the hosting team for letting us be on the pre-registration form, we'll actually know what categories people are playing. So Jake won't just be drafting random names and saying, "Hey, Chris Fashman, you're on my team," because Chris doesn't play anything besides sealed at nationals for the most part. I think I have seen him play booster once, but um, the point is, if you're in that pool of draftable players, then you will potentially be drafted to a team, and then from those four people that are drafting, they're going to try to curate the team that's going to accumulate the most victory points across all 3 days of nationals, culminating in someone being the draft champion.
Someone.
Last year we know who that was because I was smart enough, even though I bagged on them throughout the tournament season a little bit. I did draft heavy for North Central regionals, and region in that area, and I had the Fortress. I had Joe Andrighetti. Sean was a strong player, and so it matters how well the players perform. But it's just kind of a fun way to engage with the game without like being bigger than just the individual games and trying to, put a fun spin on nationals. And so the
Yeah.
more people that participate and are quote unquote draftable, it just gives us a bigger pool of players. And then based on that, I think we're targeting to try to have, we want to draft maybe about half of the pool of draftable players. So half the people get to hear their name being drafted.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that will be something we kind of determine on the fly a little bit. Like last year, last year we had a certain number of rounds set in mind, and then as we were going, we were just like, let's just keep going. Let's do another 2 rounds,
Yeah,
or
we
however
we
many we
want to see
had.
Jake. Who wanted to see how deep he can pull out names.
Yeah, and with a pool of players available, that's going to make things a lot easier to yeah, not just be pulling out random names. But that is something that you could do, is you could just take a random name from the pool of players that are left, because maybe you don't know them super well, and so that's also an option, and you're probably bound to at least get some points from doing that. So that is the fantasy draft. You kind of also touched on what you have to do to be eligible. Just make sure that on the registration form, or the pre-registration form for nationals, that you select the option to be eligible for the draft. We are doing the draft Wednesday night, so if you are not pre-registered for nationals,
Yep.
like if you just plan to show up on Thursday and sign up for the categories you're playing, you'll not be eligible for the draft. So you want to make sure that you're pre-registered. We'll make sure we have all the up-to-date information at least on the day of. So if you could register before
We will
Wednesday,
try our best.
that would be best.
We'll
But
try our
yeah,
best.
yeah, we also want to have data on the players that available, like RNRS points and that kind of stuff. So the more time we have to put all of that together and make it an easier decision making process, or maybe I don't know, just kind of like fancier, how like a typical sports draft would work, where you get to see the stats for the players that you're picking, that kind of thing. So I think the
Yeah. What?
fancier we can make it, the better. Yeah.
Yes. One thing I would like to say, if you have pre-registered and you weren't, I thought I made it clear, but if there is someone that ends up wanting to change, or maybe you find out what the draft is and you're like, I really don't want to be involved in that, and you want to change your mind, you can by reaching out to, let's just say you or me, and we can make sure that your election is changed.
Yep.
Because if you weren't aware of that and you just by default, thought maybe that meant that you had to draft or something, I want to be real clear that this is just, you just go through nationals. If you're in the pool of draftable players, you go through nationals as if you're not in the draft, and just based on your results, someone is going to either win or lose. So no pressure, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that fantasy works. Like, you draft this quarterback and you want them to do well, and sometimes they have great games, sometimes they don't. But we're not going to be those type of people that reach out in the DMs of players and like throw out threats to their families and things. Like, we're not going to take it that far, I promise.
Hey, I
But
was really
if you
counting
ended
on you
up,
to do well, and you let me down.
yes, yes, Charles Johnson last year. uh, no, I'm sorry.
You just
But
dissuaded
the point is,
five
like,
more
if
people.
Yes. Uh, I just want to say that like if you were unclear what that is, and either you want to change to be involved or are available to be drafted, or the other way, you can just reach out and let us know, and we can fix that for you.
for sure. And we likely won't actually
But
be using your image or your likeness, so that don't let that be a hindrance or
yes,
But
the farthest it'll go is probably some kind of board or something at nationals that have each player from each person that drafted their team with your total score beside it so that we can keep up with the score throughout the categories.
right,
And then at the end of it, one of the four will be, the champion of the draft. And it'll be cool if it's you, because you might get a little extra bonus, but I'll let you segue us into that when the time's
then
right
the
here.
the winner, or I think the drafter, the captain of that team or whatever, will have to buy dinner for their team. Is that how it works? I think, right? Something like that. No.
I think Tyler just volunteered to buy dinner for all people that are drafted. I think that's what it was.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah,
He
yeah.
said he had a bunch of extra honeymoon money he wanted to spend that he didn't get to spend when he was in Asia. So
We appreciate it, Tyler. Yeah, thanks for that. But if you were unsure about, like, okay, do I care enough about this draft to want to be in it? I mean, like, it's fun to play for the glory and to score points for your team and to be eligible. And of course, if you sign up, there's no guarantee that you're going to make it on the team. So on a team, so don't like put all your hopes and dreams into it. But if you do sign up to be eligible, you will, or if you do sign up to be eligible and you do get on a team, I think is what the determination was.
that,
There is some
that's
motivation.
what we decided on.
Yeah, there is some motivation that's a little extra that John put produced from his. I'm not going to say it again. Um,
Brainless.
that John decided to put together to have available this year. So, do you want to talk about the special item that you have available for people who get drafted as part of a
Sure.
team, and then also what's for the winning team, not just dinner from Tyler?
Sure. So, obviously, if you have not been under that rock that Jaden mentioned earlier, if you are aware with the community, you know that also pre registering at Nationals is going to get you a set of Babooni tokens. Matter of fact, I have already gotten some because I was part of the create a card contest that he did. He's got his in this fancy little pack. I don't have any fancy packaging or anything, so you're just going to get something handed to you. But um, there's a lot of tokens in the game, and I get the point of them because they are pseudo playable because you can use tokens in the game. That's cool. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and so this isn't something that you can play in the game, but I remember like Holy Hand Grenade and some of those like Star Wars
Q.
cards that were like, yeah, it was like fan made cards, and they were actually printed, and you could get copies of them. I think there was even one for like Your Turn Games or something.
If
Um,
I had my binder, I
someone
would
had,
I would show it. I have one.
yeah,
Yeah.
so someone had those printed out, and I thought it was cool because they're, even though they're not official cards, it's kind of cool that someone showcased, some kind of design or whatever. So that's what I did. I made a commemorative card that we will be giving away to anyone that is drafted. So you enter into the pool to be drafted, and if you do get drafted, you're going to get one of these cards. And just here's the back of it, so that we're not trying to do any shenanigans. We're not trying to say that this is an official card by any means. It's just got the podcast logo on the back. And that is an oversight on my part. I told Jaden this earlier, but since this is a collaboration between our two um, content creation projects, we probably should have had something on here denoting his efforts as well. But it's just the podcast background. But the front of it,
Maybe I can get
and
a
I'll go ahead and
stamp.
show it, is.
And just stamp everybody's card.
Front of it here is it's a good dominant. I used the Daniel, the creator's art designer, to make it, and it's called His Chosen. And this is custom artwork that I generated through AI. I thought it was pretty cool artwork.
That's
To
pretty
me,
sweet.
it represents kind of the foundation of the world. So I guess this figure would be representing God, the entity of. However, I mean, we're made in His image, so we assume that he looks kind of like us. But I don't know if he'd necessarily be standing on a rock and doing this into the distance. I don't know if that's how it happened or not. But just creative rain here. But the card's called His Chosen, and the identifier line says 2025 Nationals Fantasy Draft. And I gave it an ability, and even though this is not a real card, I tried to make it a realistic ability, something that could potentially be printed and would not be, like bonkers crazy. But the ability on it is play a hero from deck, discard pile, or reserve. Protect that lone hero from harm this turn. So it opens you up to chump blocks and things. Plus, the hero is not protected until he goes into battle because he's not lone. So it hits territory. It could then get one of the add to battle. A Murderous Command is a promo for Nationals this year. You could get hit with Murderous Command and your hero's dead. He never gets protected. So it's kind of balanced, but it's also kind of cool because it's. I use the verse from Ephesians chapter 1, 3, and 4, where it says that we were chosen before the foundation of the world. So I thought that kind of fit with the theme of getting drafted. So if you get drafted, you will become His chosen, and you will get one of these cards. So we have enough for however many players get drafted, even if we bump that number up a little bit, if we get more people entered into the pool of draftable players and we try to target drafting half or somewhere around there. So if we end up adding a couple of more rounds of drafting, I have enough cards. I have plenty of cards. So if you get drafted, you will get one of these.
Sweet.
Now, it's kind of with most other things that's happening with redemption and fan made things. Everybody likes shiny things. So if you win, or if your team wins, and you are drafted on the winning team, then you will get a foil version of this card. So we've got the
Shiny.
regular artwork, and then we've got the shiny. And I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. Um, and also, the people that are helping me produce the draft and live stream it, hosting it. Your brother is hosting it. People
Sure.
helping will get one of each of these, so they will have the regular and that. Um, but for people that are in the pool of draftable players, if you are on the winning team, then you will get a foil version. Now, I'm not sure if that moves the needle for a lot of people. It's not a real playable card, but hopefully it's kind of one of those fun collectible things. Like last year was Lost Soul tokens all over the place at Nationals and things like
Yep.
that. And we've seen, like the Oil Angel tokens that were done with the TJC the first year, things like that. So it's just another one of those like fan made collectible things out there. There's nothing official about it, but um, hopefully people enjoy it. And if you want to get the shiny version, then you just have to get drafted, and then you have to work hard to make sure everyone's pulling their weight and your team wins. Simple enough, right?
There you go. That's all you got to do. Easy peasy. All right. So then, who is it that you have to appeal to in order to be drafted? If you're thinking like I'm not good enough to get drafted without any sort of extra input, then maybe you got to reach out to one of these guys and be like, please draft me. That might not actually help you. I don't know. That might actually be more of a uh, yeah,
There's no free passes this year. Jake's not
dissuader.
drafting.
Yeah, yeah. So do it at your own risk. But we do know who three of these people are. We know that one of them here is Mr. John Hendrix over here. So I have John here representing John. That just seemed fitting. Uh, I know it was a tough choice. There were a couple different
John
Johns
representing John. I like it.
I could have picked. but I went with the disciple John rather than John the Baptist. So there you go.
Yeah, because I don't want my hair cut off.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Toila, Mr. Toila Stevens, being represented by Tola here. That was as close as I could get. But I mean, like,
That's from your brain loins. That's
those.
You should have kept that one wherever it was hiding. You should have kept that thought there. But it'll work, I guess.
Tyler, Tola, Mr. Tola Stevens here. He's gonna be our second. Well, our not necessarily second. We got to pick the order here, but he was the number two, or he was the second drafter chosen, I guess, as far as determining who the drafters were going to be for this year. And hey, Tola was also a judge. Tyler is going to be a judge at least for 2 days at Nationals this year, so it's even more fitting. So maybe don't pick him for your team because he's only going to be playing Type 1, but hey, maybe he'll do well and he'll get you 30 points going undefeated in 10 rounds. I mean, that it's possible, but he will.
But he
be.
doesn't get extra points from Top Cut this year.
Well, I mean, there'll be more points going around because it'll be like 10. Everybody's playing 10 points, so even if your people don't make Top Cut, they still have the opportunity to score points in the last 3 rounds. So,
yeah, but last year you had to consider were they more probable to make Top Cut or not
right.
because they got the extra chance at points throughout that.
Yeah.
So now everybody's more on an even. So it'll be interesting. Will Tyler draft himself even though he's only playing one category?
He certainly could. Certainly could. All right, next up, we have Mr. Jamie Collar, host of the tournament, or at least one of the hosts, co-host, along with Stephen Brooks, and I feel like we could just kind of consider their whole play group as hosts because of the effort that they've put in with their videos and advertising and all that. So I'm excited to see what kind of tournament they put on as we go down to Nationals next week. But I figured, there's a couple of Jameses to pick from, which is pretty close to Jamie. And here I went with James, son of Alpheus, or James the Less, as he's known, because I feel like that would be more of like a, like James, the brother of John. He was probably the one who got to keep James as his name more likely. I don't know, like in The Chosen they call him Little James, so I just think of like Jamie, it's kind of like a nickname that just seemed like it fit a little better here. So we got James, son of Alpheus, representing him, and
Little James.
Yeah. And last but not least, our fourth drafter for this year. Drum roll, please. Mr. Jonathan Gomez, who who's kind of returning after a little bit of a hiatus after the last few years, but those who have been around the game for a while probably know him as one of the foremost mill deck enthusiasts of Redemption.
Yes.
And he's probably got like the best actual like outcomes in tournaments using a mill deck, where most people can't really get them to work super well, but he has put a lot of effort into mill decks in the past and to Nationals with one this year. But maybe, I mean, Queen Tapanese is pretty cool, and especially with that whole Unify Language and Puppet King combo. So maybe he'll go for it. Just have a little bit of fun. But in the last couple of I think kind of just 1 month or so, I think is when he has kind of been on board again with Redemption.
He has resurfaced.
Yeah, coming back, and I heard he was at Southeast Regionals not too long ago, just this past weekend. Is that right? And
That is correct. There
yeah.
was a wild spotting of a Gomez. I mean, we approached him with caution because you don't usually see these creatures out in the wild, and we didn't know if he was going to be extra ornery or if he was going to, take a friendly approach as an unthreatening um, thing, or if he was going to be threatened. So we didn't want to spook him away because it has been quite some time since we've seen one of these in the wild. It's probably been uh, what 2 years at least.
Something
I
like
mean,
that. Yeah.
I remember seeing him at Knoxville Nationals, but I hadn't seen him much before that season. And then, I mean, that's the last time I think I spoke to him or really had any interaction with him.
So did you
So,
scare him off? Is that what we're getting at? Is it?
no,
Was
no,
it?
no, no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no, no. I think actually Jeremy, because he does a lot of work with chickens, and chickens can be an easily spooked creature. He was able to get him actually to come inside, and he let him use the one of the beds there. So he gave him a roof over his head for a couple of days, and I hear he played some redemption and he rediscovered the game, and it sparked a bit of passion inside of him. And I mean, he told me that he really wanted to draft a team, and he said that I mean, he said that he would do anything he could to get his hands on one of my cards. I showed him the design, and he was all about it. He's been going crazy with the card designer making. Like, he's been doing what I've done, like taking elements and tweaking it, and figuring out how to do like full art, borderless, all kinds of cool things. And he was showing off a lot of the cards he's had made, so it was kind of cool. And I
Nice.
showed him this, and he's like, "Dude, let me draft a team so I can get that. Let me." And it kind of started as a joke, and we talked about it a little bit, and I was like, all right, but I mean, you're gonna have to step it up, because I feel like between me and Tyler, we're at least like super competitive. And I don't know about Jamie, but I feel like the vibe I get from him is that he's into sports. He likes to watch sports and things. Or I feel like I get that vibe from him. So I feel like we're going to be a competitive group of three. And I didn't want to bring him in and him kind of be like Jake last year, to where he's kind of on the outside. And I'm not trying to bag on Jake either. I'm just saying, like, Jake's more like, hey, I'm here having fun. And I'm just going through it. I'm having fun. And like, yes, we can have fun, but
Got
I
to make it
mean,
interesting.
we were looking for the fourth person. We were wanting someone that would actually push me and Tyler. Like, it shouldn't just be a two-dog race for winning this. And I'm not throwing Jamie out. I'm just saying, like, Jamie's an unknown to me on how he's going to do. I'm excited about it, especially considering it's in his neck of the woods, and he knows at least his play group probably much better than any of us do. So he
Hmm.
might get to pick a couple of wild cards that go under the radar. That's all interesting. So Gomez is kind of an interesting study, because him coming back to the game, he knows a lot of the older players and more established players from yesteryear.
Yeah,
But we've got a lot of new players too, so that's where like the data is going to really be necessary in order to kind of bridge that divide and that gap to make it more fair across the board.
for
But
sure.
he did say he was coming for the title, so I'm excited about that. And a little bit of trash talking, I'm here for it.
All right, so you heard it here first. If you're looking to get onto a team, you've got Gomez, who probably doesn't know very many of the newer players, so you might have to sell yourself a little bit, to get onto his team, because the other guys might know that the jig is up, and they'll be like, no, I know you. You're not quite caliber or high caliber enough for my team, and you can kind of warm up to Gomez a little bit, and maybe just maybe he'll
You,
let you
you
on.
just had half the people pull their name out. He slighted me. I'm out.
No, 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 no. Remember, the more people that we have, the more people get drafted. So that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
No, and like I think it will be enough to the point where not everybody knows everybody. So if I've picked all the people, or if all the people that I know have been picked, then maybe I'm just going to be like, all right, I don't know this person, but I like their name, or they've got some
Hey,
Arteros
that's how.
points.
No, No lie, that's how we pick baseball teams. There's always like when you're a coach like at the park, like you have evaluations, and it never fails that there's about five, six, sometimes 10 kids that don't show up to evaluations, and then you don't know anything about them. You don't know anything at all. And this is where like unfortunately there's a lot of politics with youth sports these days. Like if a coach is married to or his wife, he's married and his wife is a teacher at the elementary school and she's got like an idea about kids, it's an unfair advantage because she can be like, hey, you don't want that one, you don't want that one, whatever. But as long as there's not like as long as there's not that to where like there's a known like these are you know hard to deal with kids, you get to a point to where you're literally just drafting off of how athletic the name sounds. And I'm not saying that we're in the deep south. I know that I'm going to get myself in trouble.
This is
The
my
the
channel.
news
We're
and
on here,
everything
remember?
they yeah, the news and things they make race issues to be bigger than they really are in reality. Um, but let's just say there's when you try to determine how athletic someone a kid is based on their name, like you're picking a 10U baseball team, and you got Josh. Let's just say his name is Josh Brown, okay? And you got Gunnar Thompson. You're taking Gunnar Thompson. I mean, that sounds like the kid can throw the ball hard, right? He's a gunner. He's going to gun him down at home plate. Okay, he can hit the ball. You don't know anything about Gunner or Josh. You're just going off the name. Now, I'm gonna shut up there. You can read into it what
Now,
I'm saying, but
if it's Redemption Nationals, I'm probably going with Josh Brown. That's all I'm saying.
I'm taking a J name, baby. I'm taking
Exactly,
J's all
exactly.
day. Yes.
So, if
Now,
on your registration form you need to change your name, now would be the time to do it, I guess. But there
yes.
might be some confusion, so it's at your own risk. But we got Hellas here representing our friend Gomez, who is going to be drafting along with these other fine fellas. And so, as is now going
Come
to be
on, Lucky
tradition,
Shuffler.
the
If
old
you do it
lackey
twice, it's
shuffler.
tradition.
Yep, we're now doing this. The second time is the same way we did it last year. Uh,
And just so you know, you guys out there, I currently the way that we're recording this, I cannot see his screen, so I do not see this. So this is completely blind until he tells me who comes up first. But
right, right. And you
I I want the first pick.
okay, all right. You want the first pick. You don't want the loop around or the first double pick
Nope,
like last year.
nope, because I can barter and trade with that pick.
Okay, all
Because it's
right.
my draft. I can make rules as we go. We can trade.
That was something that we almost did last year, right?
Yeah, so we said we'll save it for the next year. So here we are, baby.
All right.
It's
Well,
the next year.
the deck has been shuffled. I'm only gonna
Shuffle it three
shuffle
or
it.
four times.
Well, because if you try to
Oh,
shuffle it
okay.
more than once, it just says it can't be
It's gonna
shuffled
come out in
again.
the exact same order you
It
put it in.
it just
Watch.
says it's already been shuffled, so it can't be shuffled again
Uh,
unless you move something around. So we're just gonna trust that Lackey has shuffled it to its most highest potential here, and we're gonna reveal
and
the
with the
top card.
first pick in the draft,
We have Mr. Gomez.
uh,
Hellas Hellas came up first, and so our fourth addition to the drafting teams here. Uh,
so the first overall pick is Gomez.
yeah, Gomez
That'll
can
help him out at least. So he'll get his pick of the litter, so
right.
to speak.
Yep. All right.
And he can pick out whether it's the athletic name, whether it's a J name, whatever. He can use whatever criteria he wants.
Maybe he'll pick you. Maybe he's just like, you know what, John,
Well, then,
for making me a drafter, making those fancy cards, I want you on my team. All right. Next
All
up,
right, that'd
second
be a bad
overall
choice, I
pick
think. But
is going to be Mr. Tola Stevens. All right.
all right,
Tola
Tyler gets
is
second
up
pick.
next.
Looks like I'm getting the turn again.
You might, yeah, and yeah, just to, I don't know if we said this earlier, but the pick or the draft is going to be the snake draft. So first pick, second pick, third pick, fourth pick, and then that fourth drafter gets the first pick of the second round, and you go back the other way. So
And it's a full point PPR for you guys out there. That means nothing to you though.
nope, absolutely nothing.
It's an inside joke for people that do fantasy draft.
Right, okay, sure. Uh, and
Point
so
per redemption or point per redeemed soul. That's what we should do. We should have PPR and it actually be PPR stands for point per reception. So if a player catches a pass, they get a point automatically.
sure, right,
So
okay.
it helps balance out and give more points to receivers and the pass catchers to compete with the 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 running backs.
Do point per redeemed soul, then we got type 2, kind of elevating your players'
There you
potential. But we do,
maybe we'll add that next year.
yeah, we do points by game score, that's the way we did it last year, and that's what we're sticking with for this year. All right, so now you don't want your name to come up, is that right?
No, I would rather it not now.
Right, yeah, because you want the wraparound.
But now it's going to.
All right, well, third
Come on,
overall
little
pick
James.
is going to
Little James.
Mr. Jamie Collar.
Woo! And you guys, at the beginning, I said I wanted the first pick. So now you can't say that we contrived and we made this happen this way. The Lackey Shuffler never lies.
Yep. All right, and then John coming up. You get the wraparound. You get last overall pick, but first pick in the second round. And I'll go back and forth unless you all figure out some trades. I don't know if you want your, maybe you can wheel and deal, give away that double pick, or that first pick in the second round, or or maybe you'll get to draft the Fortress again in one go.
Does the Fortress still have 4 walls?
Well, it's at least 2. I don't know. We'll see.
You're doing your part, huh?
We'll be there. So that's what we got for the fantasy draft. I don't think that there's anything really else that we want to cover for that. But this episode or this video was meant to be all about drafting, and I did want to talk a little bit about booster draft at Nationals as well. That's going to be coming up. I'm going to be playing booster draft because if you were listening to the live Threshing Floor episode, you know that I'm not planning to play Type 2. Neither is Toila, and neither is Jeremy Chambers. So we're kind of trying to help open up Type 2 a little bit. And instead, I am going to be drafting at least, and I know you are planning to do some
What
drafting.
it is you wanted to try to get to be the first overall pick, so you wanted to get into the category with more rounds.
Well, there may be some alternative motives. The fantasy draft wasn't super high among those, but maybe that's part of it. I mean, depending on how many people play booster draft, I would almost expect to potentially win more games in Type 2 than in booster draft. So, that's.
I guess that is fair.
If
you're really good at Type 2 and you're just so at booster.
Sure, yeah, right. At least I would expect people to expect me to do better in Type 2 than in booster. So, booster, it's tough.
Booster Jones is not in the field now, so.
That's true.
That opens up both categories.
Yeah.
Type 2's opened up because you guys are not in it, but then Booster's opened up because that Joker's not in it. So did he hurt his chances to be first overall pick by going into Type 2?
Potentially,
I don't
know. Kind of maybe we're both sabotaging ourselves by making this agreement where he's playing Type 2 and I'm playing Booster. But
Maybe maybe we maybe we should do a giveaway and give away one of these foil cards to the first person, or let everybody put in a guess of like who the first round picks will be. There'll be four picks, and if they pick them in the exact order, the first one to pick it in the exact order gets the card. That'd be kind of cool.
that'd
Work
be
up something
interesting. We'd
like
have to
that.
do like secret submissions or something, or I mean, I guess I could just submit them to me, and then just so that you guys don't see. We'll have to.
Right. So that we don't avoid giving them. Yeah. Well, it'd be kind of cool because I'm sitting here trying to think who is going to be the first pick, and like I feel like there's two really obvious, like these are going to be the first two off the board, and I think that's, well, I won't share my thoughts here. Like I think it's obvious. Like when you look at the pool of players this year, the results this year, what you're expecting people to be doing at Nats, I think it's obvious for two. But then the other two in the first round is like it's kind of a toss up.
Do they have to get the four in order, or just the
I think
four
so.
players?
I think in order makes it
It makes it that makes it
a
pretty
little bit more
tough.
challenging.
Yeah, because then you gotta
Does
also
it?
like think about the drafters themselves, like who's who has faith in who, kind of a thing, or who thinks you know their player or certain players are better than others. I don't know.
That's fair, but at the same time, I feel like there's somebody out there listening right now that's like, oh, these are going to be the first four players picked, and if there's no order to it, like I feel like that's a could be a pretty easy thing to land on
Sure. Yeah. Maybe we just do
until
it.
with the
Whoever gets
turn
the
until with
closest.
the turn with the turn. I completely. They're like these are the top four. Could you imagine someone that's got them in the right order, but then I draft my two backwards? It's,
Like you did last
so
year
I missed so much.
when
Yeah,
you drafted
like
Justin before me. Yeah. No.
it was motivation.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I think if we want to do this, we should give it away to whoever gets the closest. So if they've got two flip flopped, or if whoever, maybe somebody gets the four correct players but just not in the right order. I think that would be a good way to do it.
Okay, how about how about we say we give away to the first 10 people to get the four right. We'll give them the regular version of the card. I have enough of those to spread it out, and that way 10. If you're one of the first 10 to submit the four that's drafted, no matter what order, you'll get one of the regular versions of his chosen.
The
That opens it up for more people with less stringent rules to try to keep up with.
So I mean they've got to submit their picks before we do the draft though. So first, as in just like
Right.
whenever we open it up for submissions.
Yes.
All
Um,
right.
so like we'll make some kind of Google form or something people can fill out, and then we'll just reference that and the first 10 that got it right based on time of submission.
All right. All right. Sounds good.
I feel
Well,
like it'll be easy enough to track.
yeah. Here
And
we
I'll be at
are.
nationals with the card, so I'll find you and give you your card. Or maybe you'll know that you got them all right, and you can come and pester me if I forget about it. But we'll make sure to get you squared away, and that way it gives an opportunity for people that aren't getting, you know, aren't in the pool of draftable players, or even, if they are and they don't get drafted, they still get a shot. We'll give away 10 cards that way. I think
And
that's cool.
should we are we releasing the pool of draftable players for people to pick from for their top four, or are we just going to assume that people are going to be able to figure out top four because
Um,
we don't
I,
have all of that put together yet. So,
that's fine. I think we just leave it randomly open.
all right. All right. So, if you're picking, you got to make your picks from people that you assume are in the top
Or you could do
four
your
and
homework and
assume are
reach out and
eligible.
ask them, hey, are you draftable? Are you draftable?
That's true. That's probably the better way to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
But looking at the top end of the list, without trying to make it a slight to anyone, I think I feel confident saying that the first four players to be picked are in the draftable pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty strong position to take, but I think I feel confident in it.
I think that's probably fair to say. So, so yeah, with that, we'll get that form out. Here we are, just planning parts
I'm
of the
making
fantasy
stuff up on the
draft
fly.
as we go. But we do want
We're
to,
drafting up a contest on the episode about drafting.
it's brilliant. That
Yes,
was the plan all
that's
along.
another form of draft.
Okay, all right. So transitioning a little bit from the fantasy draft, but we do want to kind of make that as cool as possible, adapt it over time, change things up over the year while keeping the same, or the years while keeping the concept the same. I think it's a fun thing, and I think people really enjoyed it last year. So yeah, we're doing that again this year. We're doing also again this year regular booster draft as a format at Nationals because that's how Nationals works. Both of us are going to be playing that, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about drafting, kind of some principles and strategies. My original plan for this video was to have the second part of this episode be just doing some commentary over the North Central Regionals drafting live stream that I did this past weekend, where we were looking over the shoulder of Josh Knitt and seeing what cards he selected as he was drafting. And for those of you who don't know Josh, he is, I mean, I think it's fair to say one of the foremost draft players in Redemption of all time. I mean, he's got, I think it's 2 national titles in Booster Draft. It's at least 1, but I'm pretty sure it's 2. Definitely some other.
Because he's made 2 cards. He made Ends of the Earth and Righteous Seeker.
Okay, yeah, and those were both from draft, yeah. So and he's got various other placings, mostly in limited formats, but he used to play constructed more. Now he pretty much just plays draft, but he's still a very competent drafter, even if he's not super familiar with the set or newer cards. He hadn't played in a while going into North Central Regionals, but he did still take down the draft, and fortunately, I was able to record his draft before they ended up playing the category, so got to see what cards he picked, and just the way that technical difficulties go, I wasn't able to get the commentary and all that together for the video, and honestly it was a little bit sketchy anyway because the live stream had some skipping in it, and it was just kind of would have been a little bit difficult to follow along with. But if you go back and watch it, I think you can still learn some good things from that. So I'll put a link to the live stream in the description. It's just like the first half hour of the video, and if you want to, you can skip through or watch the actual gameplay. All of the games are featuring Josh because he started at the top table there, and then continued to win out against each of his opponents, so you can see the deck that he drafted in action. But a few of the things to note, I think, from his draft is just the prioritization of battle winners. That's a big thing in draft, which it seems kind of intuitive, but I think a lot of people will try to prioritize characters. Making sure that you have enough heroes is certainly an important thing, but if you're just trying to match brigades and making sure that you have mostly cards of one brigade, that's going to be good, but it's not going to be great if some of those cards are just support cards that don't necessarily impact a battle, or maybe they only work with certain other cards that you're not as likely to pick up in the draft. And so that's something to keep an eye on. I think keep an eye on the emphasis on soul gen cards like Hopper and Lost Souls, They're both in roots, so they're semi-readily available. They're going to be in every pack that you open, or potential to be in every pack that you open. Heroes that play Lost Souls from your opponent's deck can be very good as well. They're especially good if they are in your brigade that you're already drafting. But also, I think, not locking yourself into a brigade early on is also a good principle. Like, take the battle winners and kind of maybe go that direction. But if you're just taking heroes and then hoping to get battle winners for that brigade of heroes, then, or characters, I guess, applies to evil characters as well, then you might not find what you're looking for. You might find kind of subpar battle winners or things that maybe win battles, but they're not going to be quite as good or as flexible. So that's the other thing to look for, I guess, are cards that are flexible. And in limited formats, you want cards that can generate value, or get you more resources, or that can be used on multiple different characters. So like dual alignment or multi-brigade cards are generally better because they give you more of that flexibility. So those are just some of the things to keep an eye on if you do go back and watch that video. Also, I wanted to remind or show, if you're relatively new to Lackey, some ways that you can actually practice or kind of prepare for doing a draft. This is something that I think gets used very infrequently with Lackey. But if you go over to the deck editor tab, and then right next to all cards in the bottom half of the screen there is the card pool tab. And you can just click a button that says add a pack or random deck. And in Lackey, we have loaded in all of the box packs with roots, I guess minus TXP and Disciples. So all of the rotation box packs with roots. And going into Booster Draft at Nationals this year, we already know that the packs that are going to be drafted are 2 boxes of POC, or 2 packs of Prophecies of Christ, 2 packs of Israel's Rebellion, and 2 packs of Israel's Inheritance. Don't know what order those are going to be in yet. Shouldn't matter a whole lot, but that's a total of 65 cards, if I've done my math right. You've got 5 packs with 9 cards and 2 packs with 10. So you're going to have a pretty decent sized card pool. If you add 7 Lost Souls there, you've got 22 cards to cut to end up with a 50 card deck, which is what I would recommend for draft. Some people want to play like 56
to hide souls, baby.
Hide Lost Souls. Yeah, that's something you can do. But generally speaking, 50 cards is going to be better, because
just take it with a grain of salt. I've never won Nats in boosters, so maybe not 56.
Hey, maybe this year's the year. Brian's not playing, so it's a wide open field. But so if you're in here with Lackey, you can go here and you can click on POC with roots, hit choose. It's just gonna give you a pack. That it's going to be distributed fairly similarly to the likelihood of getting ultra rares and that kind of thing in normal packs, where it's like 1 in 24 or something like that. And so, or maybe I guess for POC it'd be like 1 in 12, or I don't know. But anyway, you're at least going to get 1 rare. You might get an ultra rare with some likelihood. And you can just go through the pack and just kind of see, like, okay, if I were to open this pack in a tournament, maybe this is pack 1, pick 1. What am I going to take? And you can just kind of think of, like, what are the top cards for drafting early on. And if you wanted to, you could just keep on going, adding more packs and drafting more cards. It's obviously not as fun by yourself, but it's just. Look at an II pack here. You can see that. Oh, hey, look, I've got.
Did you get a foil? That's the first step.
Nope, I did not. I got Ambush the City was my rare. Probably not that great of a card in Booster Draft, but Bearers of the Ark is going to be a pretty good one. Drawing 2 cards, and also have the the flexibility, like I was talking about, having a dual brigade hero, having both clay and gold, is pretty good. Told Before Truth as a battle winner is also pretty good. Has that band ability. Buckler, you kind of need weapons to make
Buckler's
it work
good.
well, but there's going to be a lot of those. If you're pack one, pick one, maybe you could take it and then just kind of lean that direction, but it's not necessarily going to help you in the battle because you kind of got to count on other cards coming to it as well. For roots, we got a King of Towers in here, so that's certainly a good pick. I don't know if I would necessarily take it, pick one, but maybe. I'm still kind of getting used to 2-player booster myself, so as far as like taking evil cards on the first pick, that's like something that I've always been like, wait, why would you do that? But in a 2-player draft format, it's not completely unheard of. King of Towers can stonewall a lot of drafted offenses, so that's certainly a direction you could go. So those are some of the things to consider if you are playing booster draft at nationals here. Maybe you want to take a little bit of time to practice, and you can do that on Lackey. You can check out the live stream to get some tips from Josh without I guess unspoken tips, just by kind of seeing what he has available, and you might have to go a little bit slow to actually see what's in the pack, and and then determine, okay, why did he pick that card? But those were just some of the things that I learned from watching that video or the live stream there, and some of the things that I wanted to share since we're talking all about drafting here. And I know I just went on for a while, but John, you are planning to play draft. You have drafted quite a few times before. Do you have any
I have
other
drafted a few.
tips or things that you want to share with the community here as we're looking forward to booster draft, or things that you want to say just to throw them off so that you have a better chance of winning nationals this year?
Man, I do feel like there's potential gamesmanship, but well, one thing is that booster draft is going to be open, like you talked about, because Booster Jones is not involved. So maybe there's an option for you to reach out and get advice from him potentially. You see him at Nets. I wouldn't blow him up on DMs or anything. But maybe we're gonna
Well, you
be
probably would,
around the
but
venue.
yeah.
No, well, I just call him, but asking him questions over the past few years has not helped me win more. So I,
Mm.
I don't think it's going to change in the next few days. But he'll be around at nationals, and maybe you just ask a question here or there. But I don't know how much he would actually share, because I think it's honestly probably it's one of those things that probably just comes natural to him because he plays so much Redemption. And I think that you know there's an element of draft just comes naturally to some people, like Josh Kinnett being one of them, where he hasn't been super involved with the game and can just pick it up and do well with it because he understands, where you need to place your value in things. And I think your line saying that, you want to focus on potential battle winners and things to actually win the battles, because, the notion of, and it used to be, and I think it's an adjustment that happens with Roots now being in the packs, is it's more consistent spread of cards. But it used to be like you would get packs, and if there was a hero, you almost needed to take that hero because you weren't sure when the next hero, especially of a certain brigade, was going to come back around. And now it's a little bit more consistent, to where if you're still doing the whole, like, I'm focusing on just characters as high priority, then you end up with subpar things to try to win battles and things. And it's a lot. You can have a battle winner and almost win a battle with any character more frequently. That case happens than I have this character but a subpar battle winner and I'm going to win the battle. That happens a lot less frequently. So placing your value. Another thing that I like to do, and this is something that I've only started doing um, recently, but if a card comes up, and I'm a little bit more aggressive with it now, but like if it's early in a pack and I see a card, I'm like, I don't want to play against that card. I'm just going to go ahead and take that card because there's a reason I don't want to play against it, and I can harness the same thing and actually be the person playing it versus having it played against me. Like one card I took pretty early in a pack just because I was like, okay, I see the value in this, and I really don't want to have to, be dealing with it in a draft. And it was the most recent draft at Southeast Regionals. Was Poison of Dragons, and this was like, like we've already taken a couple cards out of the pack, but Poison of Dragons is there. I think that's the name of the card anyway. Paralyze and decrease.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and just getting to reuse that over and over when there's not negate neutral characters running around and there's not easy ways to deal with it. That can be a frustrating card to deal with. So why deal with it when you can make someone else deal with it? If you see Lost Souls in your pack, go ahead and take it over a character, over a battle winner. Lost Souls is one of those things that it's almost game warping, depending on when it comes out. If it comes out early, you never worry about the player that has it. Never worries about soul gen for the most part, because at least their souls, when they come out, they're able to create, even if the other player is playing like New Testament souls.
Yep.
But then I think there's a couple of other souls in Roots that have value, but maybe don't seem super impressive up front. So I think finding ways to adjust your like value chart for cards you see now that Roots is involved, I think completely changes the dynamic. And last year was our first year since Roots has come out at Nationals. And so I think there was a across the board decks were more consistently good, or the level of the deck was higher across the board than it had been in previous years. I think that was pretty evident by how many like close games there were, people playing, and then from there wasn't the top end winning and then the bottom end losing. It was a lot of mixed results. Like people hovering around that 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think finding little ways to, the card pool is what it is. Everyone's going to end up with a somewhat good deck. I think what's going to determine people that win matchups is going to be how do you take your deck that's good versus their deck that's going to end up being good. What's the couple of things that you're going to be able to leverage and beat that deck? So it's no longer I'm going to push this big number character and I'm going to get away with it. It's like having stuff to back it up. And I think changing the mindset is kind of a necessary thing to actually start valuing things like battle winners over characters, because at the end of it, as long as you have a character that matches the brigade, the battle winner does the work.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's not just big numbers anymore, unless it's King of Towers. Then it might still work. But it's a lot of CBP stuff.
It might work
in
for a
Roots too.
turn.
Yeah.
It might, at least for a turn.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, and I guess you mentioned Brian as well, being one of the kind of premier drafters of the modern era, and I think it was New York State. Yeah, that's right, where I did kind of the same sort of thing with Brian. I haven't gone back and rewatched that one to kind of monitor the quality and how well you can tell what each of the cards are that he's drafting and whatnot. But I'll put a link to that one in the description too. You can go back and see some of the choices that Brian made in that draft, and it'll be kind of similar. So I had the privilege, I guess, of being able to do this with two of the best redemption drafters that have graced or
have existed in human history.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. Yeah,
the best of the best.
So yeah, that was it's something that I want to be able to do more often. I think it's kind of cool. I don't do a whole lot of draft content. Doing a draft on Lackey again at some point might be kind of fun. There are some, like way back when, a few years ago.
6-hour live streams
on the channel, but yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, now that we pretty much only do 2-player draft, then yeah, that would maybe take a while to do a round robin or something, but yeah, that could be fun. Could be a fun live stream event do at some point. So, anyways, that's I guess we're just over an hour, so it's probably a good time to wrap things up here. Got on
Yes,
longer
but
than.
before we wrap up, I would like to let you know that Redemption with Jaden is brought to you by our friends at Your Turn Games. You got to pay your bills, man. You got to
That
pay your bills.
that
And
is
since he
very
sponsored the
true.
podcast, I throw it out there. So Andy will be set up at Nationals, so you guys can go and check with him. It was brought up to me earlier. You mentioned we should have got Andy to pick a team, but I did not ask him because I thought he might need to focus on actually making money and things like that for his business perspective. I didn't want it to be a potential distraction, but maybe one day down the road, maybe next year or something, we can rope Andy into drafting a team. But he will be there set up at Nationals, and I hear that there is. I don't know when the time frame is for this, but I did hear from him that at some point soon we're going to get a couple of new playmat designs from Your Turn Games. It's been a little while since they put out some new ones, so
I heard that as
I don't
well.
know.
I'm
Yes,
I'm excited because all of
it's funny
the
because since you're sponsored, like we get the inside scoop, but now
we're
we're sharing it with you guys. So
yeah. That,
get ready for it.
all of the playmats coming out from Your Turn Games, I have not been disappointed with. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he's got cooking there. So you can use the code NATSPICkup at checkout to get your cards at Nationals, but you do want to put your orders in soon here, just to make sure that Andy gets them before he takes off for Nationals. So maybe try to do that this weekend to figure out what last cards you need to finish up your deck, or maybe you're just going to draft at Nationals and you don't need cards. You're just going to be buying cards there, but you may need to pick up some times to come at Nationals, and it's quite possible that Andy will be able to be the one to help you out with that as well. So that is a good place to end things here, I think. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I had actually queued that
Got to
up.
keep the lights turned on.
I had actually queued that up to transition into, but then it slipped my mind as we got toward the end here, because we're
Hey, funny thing. That's why we say it at the top of the podcast now, so I don't want to forget.
well. I was
I
gonna
also
do it in between. I was gonna do it before we got into talking about drafting, but it was just like it was
yeah
too easy to go from fantasy draft to booster draft. So
yeah.
yeah,
I think the key is also you got to get into like your um your legit podcasting voice or your legit YouTuber voice to where don't worry, we are brought to you by Your Turn Games. Go check them out for blah blah blah, and then they just roll into it. It's like they read the script and it's just like second nature. You got to like be
right.
in the shower, you're shampooing your hair, and you're just like, check out our friends at Your Turn Games. You just gotta it's gotta come second nature to you. It's not there for me yet,
Mm,
um,
yeah,
and I'm hoping to get better at it. So I
I'll
don't want
keep
it to
practicing
be
in
an
the shower.
afterthought, but yeah, well,
Laminate my script, put it on the wall. No.
yeah, just it's
Don't
supposed to
forget
be
to use
there.
discount code NATSPICkup at checkout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get Andy to do like a lot of other YouTubers to where you make sure you use code RWJ and then he can track how many people go and buy based on your
There
videos.
we go. Yeah. Get a little cut based off of that. No. I
Yeah.
think we actually talked about that at one point. It's kind of a hassle, but
Yeah.
at some point maybe you'll be using a discount code or something from the channel here specific for some product, maybe to buy a copy of Jeshua or something off of Andy. So no. Or Jaden the Maranatha. That makes sense. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Thanks, John, for joining me in our draft discussion here. Enjoy
Yep.
your loop around pick, and yeah, looking forward to seeing those in person. So
And
if
don't
you,
forget, everyone is his chosen.
hey, there we go.
But if you get chosen, you'll get these. Well, you'll get at least one of these. If you win, you get the other.
So you got to be chosen by the right person.
Yes. Which is not Gomez. and it's not Jamie, and I dare say it's not my boy Tyler. So if you want to win,
You got to grovel at John.
I can't be bought. I'm just going to pick the best players.
All right, that's fair. All right. Well, if you haven't proven your salt yet, then you probably don't have an opportunity to do that. So you got to go talk to somebody else and maybe just get one of the regular versions. I guess that's the
Just throw out a guess, and maybe you'll be one of the 10 to win the little guessing game.
Yep. There you go. And people that are not going to nationals, can they guess still?
Yes, yeah,
All
open
right.
to everyone.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure you can send them out to people, so you don't have to be at nationals to win that part of it. And also, I guess the other thing, if you are interested in drafting a team for yourself and you are not going to nationals, that is something that is potentially in the works as well. Doing a separate draft that will not necessarily be prize supported, so don't necessarily count on that, but just something for fun. So if you're interested in doing that, send me a DM on Discord. I've already got at least a couple people who are interested. So I think that's something that we're going to try to make happen. It'll be the same pool of players that you can pick from. We'll just decide how many rounds we do based on the number of people we get that are interested. So probably should have mentioned that earlier, but here we are, the end of the episode, and mentioning it now. So, all right, that's where we're cutting it off. It's done. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Peace.